Very strong words from a father in intense pain today, not the only one. Tony Forbes, of course, the father of AKA, joining his family in deep pain today as people continue to pay tributes for AKA and his friend Tibbs. Live now to our reporter Linda Mnisi, who's been at that family announcement today. Linda, good afternoon to you. Obviously, the images there of a family in very, very deep pain this afternoon.
Indeed, Stephen, and you'll remember that this is the first time that they're coming out in public to address, of course, the incident of their son's killing. We saw for the very first time the family coming out with AKA's girlfriend, Newzroom Afrika, who seemed quite distraught, coming out here at this venue where his father, Tony Forbes, would deliver a statement to the media, quite short. If you look at exactly the expectation was that he would be long and perhaps, take questions, but they indicated at the beginning of this briefing that they will not be taking any questions, touching on a few remarks around specifically the statements that have been made to the media, looking at that declaration by the NPA that it had decided that it would not be prosecuting anyone for Anele Dembe's murder. He says that they've taken note of that but have been aware as well since last year, also talking about the aspersions that have been cast against AKA's friends. You'll remember there's been much speculation around what could have happened, who could have been involved in the murder of AKA, particularly on social media, but he really does speak about those accusations and that speculation that's been making the rounds on social media, saying that his home, their home, is still open to AKA's friends, thanking their support, thanking AKA's friends who are in KwaZulu-Natal and Durban for their continued support. Quite a short statement, Stephen, not necessarily going into the details around how his son was shot, and the details, particularly in light of the CCTV footage that's making the rounds as well. As one could understand, it's still early stages of investigations, and police were speaking to our colleague earlier on, Olunga, talking about what they are looking into. So it would have been obviously interesting to hear what they make of the police statement that they're looking everywhere for clues on who exactly could have been behind the shooting. They're not, leaving anyone out, particularly the people that were with him at that particular time, before and during and after the shooting. Those are the words, in fact, of the provincial commissioner in KwaZulu-Natal, who says that they're looking everywhere, and particularly the issues around anything that could, link anyone to this particular matter. So the family not being drawn into all of those, merely saying they've noted all the statements that have been made in the media. But as you would have seen, their distraught mother of AKA Kiernan, as they better know him, quite distraught, for the first time showing face since the passing of her son. We know that she and the rest of the family had been in KwaZulu-Natal and only came back yesterday with his body. So those are the images that played out today here in Johannesburg.
I would imagine also just, so much media attention about all of this. We saw, as you say, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi talking about it this morning. And the father, I think quite wisely, not taking questions on all of this today.
Yeah, there's a lot of media attention on this, particularly looking at the nature of the crime itself. And because, obviously, for obvious reasons, AKA was a well-known musician. And, of course, the news of his killing really did send shockwaves throughout the country. So quite a number of media outlets out here to hear exactly what the family makes of it. But also they've taken this opportunity to tell members of the public about the planned events that are coming this Friday, the memorial service, saying that people who are interested in celebrating his life can come on Friday at 3 p.m. The tickets of that memorial service are available for members of the public to get. But his funeral, as you would have seen the statement that they released earlier on, will be held in a private ceremony on Saturday. This is a provincial funeral, which then indicates that the state will be involved. The details around that provincial funeral were not even given by the family themselves. I suppose then that at a later stage they'll be giving us those details in terms of what category it is and what then will happen, and whether or not members of the media will be allowed to come and cover that particular aspect of the proceedings. But as far as we know at this point, Stephen, it will be a private funeral. The details are not released in terms of where exactly it is going to happen. We only know about the memorial service, which is set to take place in Sandton on Friday.
Mnisi, thank you very much indeed, live at that announcement by the Forbes family.